Who was Andy Warhol? This is Andy Warhol, and he was born in 1928 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and died in 1987 in New York City, New York, at just 58 years old following a gallbladder surgery. Andy first got noticed for his huge role in the pop art movement, which he was a leader of. He is known for his bright and colorful paintings and images using a bunch of celebrities as his inspiration. According to the website By Kerwin, Andy Warhol is famous for helping pioneer pop art, a movement he significantly shaped by elevating everyday objects to high art status. Without Andy Warhol, we wouldn't have what is known as pop art and a very huge inspiration for many artists today. Andy Warhol was in his 30s in the 1960s. During this time, it was hugely influential for history and people all over the world. So many wars and so much change was going on during this time, and it caused such an uproar in people everywhere. There was the Civil Rights Movement, which was from 1954 to 1968, the Korean War, which was 1950 to 1953, the Cold War, which was 1947 to 1989, and the Vietnam War, which was 1955 to 1975. There was so much change going on all over the world, and this created a very huge inspirations for artists all over, Andy Warhol being one of them. According to the Andy Warhol family album, Andy and his two brothers John and Paul grew up in Pittsburgh during the Great Depression. His parents were Julia and Andre, who were immigrants from Eastern Slovakia. Andy went to Holmes Elementary School and then attended Shenley High School, where he graduated pretty high up in his class. In 1942, when Andy was just 13 years old, sadly, his father passed away due to peritonitis, which is where the tissues in your stomach become inflamed or infected. His father's last wish was for Andy to continue his education, so after high school, he got accepted and attended Carnegie Mellon University in 1945, where he was first in his family to go to college. Andy Warhol undoubtedly created many amazing pieces of art. To create these amazing pieces, Andy would use silkscreen printing to mass produce his images. Silkscreen printing is a stenciling technique that makes it very easy to transfer something from one page to another. His inspiration seemed to be famous people and famous brands. He would base his artwork on shots taken by tabloids and things he would see in his day-to-day life. This is one of his most famous paintings. It is called The Campbell's Soup Can, and he painted this in 1962. According to the website My Art Broker, this is considered to be a realism painting, and Warhol created this by projecting the image of the soup can on a blank canvas and tracing it over and painting it in. This is how Andy got such a realistic image of the iconic soup can. According to the website History.com, Warhol painted this because he told reporters that he would eat Campbell's soup for lunch every single day for decades, and that Warhol loved repetition, which is what inspired him to create the artwork that he did in the first place. Another very famous painting that Andy Warhol created was Marilyn Diptych, which was also created in 1962 and was only a couple weeks after her death, which was August 4th, 1962. This is considered to be another very realistic painting of the famous actress and model that was very popular in the 1900s. He would use silkscreen and acrylic paint as a way to reproduce a single photograph of Marilyn Monroe in multiple variations. Andy made two variations, each with about 50 panels of her face. That's 100 panels in total. The first variation was a black and white version, and it showed to be very blurry and blended together, while the second variation was very bright, colorful, and neat, and fit what he is best known for, which is pop art. He used an image from her film Niagara that was created in 1953 as an interpretation for his art piece. Some lines on Andy Warhol's black and white version Marilyn Diptych, like I said before, are very faded in, not really as defined, while the colorful version has very defined and sharp outlines of Marilyn. So why did he do it like this? People believe this symbolizes how Marilyn was viewed to the public, which is very different to how she actually was. So, why did Andy Warhol choose Marilyn Monroe as his muse for his very famous art piece in the first place? People ask this question all the time. There's many different speculations, but according to thecollector.com, many people believe that there is a reason as to why he painted her after her death. They believe it is because he felt that many people objectified her and only focused on her looks and didn't really pay attention to who she was as a person. He painted this to really make people think about what fame is and what that entails, which is something we still struggle with today. Without Andy Warhol, art wouldn't be as we know it today. He is a huge inspiration for artists, and because of his famous pop art, people take inspiration from that. Andy Warhol really started getting noticed in the 1960s because of his Campbell's Soup can painting. After that, he was highly recognized for the messages his paintings suggested that were hidden beneath. Because of the huge impact Andy had on art, he inspired many artists. These artists are Keith Haring and Banksy. Andy Warhol is a huge reason art is the way it is today. So we should never forget the mark he made on the world and how hard he worked to make it.